Well, Australia is facing the greatest wealth transfer in the nation's history, with an estimated $3.5 trillion to be passed down from baby boomers in the coming years. Now, according to Griffith University, each recipient is expected to receive, on average, around $320,000. And while it's a welcome windfall, the majority of Aussies are concerned about the tax obligations that come with it. So how can you better protect your inheritance from such tax liabilities? Financial advisor Ben Nash is with us. Ben, good to see you again.
Good to be here.
I thought there were no inheritance taxes in Australia. That's what the politicians tell us. But there are some sneaky ones that can catch you out.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And there is no inheritance tax as such. However, there are tax implications based on the different things that you may inherit. So superannuation has some tax obligations that impact it, inheriting property, investment properties, a share portfolio. If you're not aware of the tax implications and you're not managing them effectively, then it can see, a pretty significant chunk of your money actually departing.
And you don't want to give more tax than you have to.
I agree.
Yeah, you want to pass on. So tell us the areas we should be aware of in terms of taxes, particularly on, say, the most common shares and property.
Just a couple of examples. When you inherit superannuation monies, that when super funds pass to a non-dependent beneficiary, so like adult children, for example, there can be a tax of 15% on the main component of your super fund. And that can be tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars of tax that most people aren't aware of. Similarly, when it comes to inheriting investment properties or shares, that when those assets are being bought after capital gains tax kicked in September of 1985, basically you inherit the cost base of those investments, which once again, if you look at what's happened in the property market, that could be a pretty significant capital gain that you're inheriting, or potentially a pretty significant tax bill as well. So just understanding that it's not just that there's no inheritance tax and so there's nothing to be thinking about here, get some good advice, and then you can make sure that you're making the smartest moves.
Yeah, because that advice will give you strategies on how to reduce it well ahead of time. Why not? You can plan for it. Is it worthwhile passing on assets before you die?
For a lot of people, that they're building up the assets, that's their retirement. These are the assets that you want to be using to fund your lifestyle in retirement as well. And so it is a bit of a balancing act. Obviously, it depends on the person's financial position, but when you do that, that can help. One of the biggest issues when it comes to inheritances is asset protection. And, you see these really sad stories where people work really hard, they build up this money, they want to pass it down to future generations. Then those future generations might have a separation, and they see a big pool of their money actually departing with an exiting partner. If you can get the right legal structuring around this, then that can give you a little bit more protection.
Okay. So if you're a recipient of an inheritance, what should you talk to mum and dad about now to make sure you don't get hit with a big tax bill? And do it nicely and respectfully, of course.
Of course, yeah.
What ideas should you be putting in their head?
Well, I think it is a difficult conversation, or it can be challenging, particularly if you're talking about to your parents about them potentially passing away. However, the tax implications, the asset protection implications, that can be potentially an easier way to start that conversation. And thankfully, there's a lot of content out there that, you could come at it in that you've seen something where you've realised that there are some issues there that need to be at least considered. There's definitely no right way of managing this, but I think having the conversation, because ultimately for people that are passing on money through inheritances, they want it to benefit the person that they're doing it for. So, starting the conversation can help.
And the advice for grumpy old baby boomers like me is who usually keep their estate planning secret as a bit of a, if you like, a power play in the family dynamics to think they're still important. Just have the conversation so there are no surprises Because the last thing you want after you die is to create squabbles amongst the family when the will comes out.
Yeah, definitely. And you do hear about some of these stories, and clearly that's not the intention for someone passing on some money. So it's better to have a clear plan, make sure people are bought in or clear, or at least clear on enough information to know that it's going to do what it is that you want to do as someone passing on money.
Yep, great advice. Ben, good to see you again. Thank you.
No worries.